Hi, everyone. Welcome to a brand new episode of Women of Community Banking. I've got a good friend. Hi, Jennifer. Welcome to the podcast. How are things with you? How's it going?
Thank you so much for having me today.
Complete pleasure, right? I mean, two things. One is I'm based in a very small, little, beautiful town called Eau Claire. I can see finally greeneries instead of the New York skyline. That's one thing good. And second, me and Jennifer, we worked half an hour for getting our laptops fixed. And that's the reason we are better friends now. we talked our entire life in half an hour. So thank you, technology, for making us
Yes.
better friends, for sure.
Yes. Thank you.
Absolutely. So Jennifer's based in in one of the cities I love, Phoenix. Not extreme weather, but at least better weather than where I stay. She's based Phoenix, having spent 3 decades in financial services and more than 2 decades in credit unions. She's chief experience officer of TruWest. Again, based in Phoenix, something apart from her work. She runs marketing and operations and experience, bunch of things. But apart from work, she's excited about something new that she is working on with her 12-year-old daughter. She is actually almost a full time, a club volleyball mom, about which she's excited. Also, she claims that she is a full time shopper, maybe like all of us, because that's the way how the world works. And apart from that, her work and her being a full-time volleyball mom, she also is a second vice chair of America's Credit Union Council for, the exec committee. She's also a second chair of America's Credit Union Council's exec committee, which runs 8 councils. So pretty much, long story short, she's a busy person. If she's giving us half an hour, we should be grateful for that. So Jennifer, thank you for taking your time out, and we appreciate it.
My absolute pleasure. Thank you for having me. I am so honored to talk with you and share some stories.
Absolutely. So then let's start sharing stories, right? So what has been your journey so far?
I've had a busy journey. I am one of the rare credit union individuals who started their first job as a teller. I always love when I get to find credit union professionals who started their first role as a teller. And you just you never leave this industry when they get you. So right out of high school, actually, I jumped into a teller role, and it just appealed to me early on. I made way more money than my friends working at restaurants, tremendously better hours, and paid holidays, which no college kids had back in those days. So spent several years as a teller, and really it's kind of they open the door to you in financial services with that role. And really, since that first role, I have been involved in every aspect of operations in credit unions, from the front of the house in our branches to the back office operations portion of credit unions, and spent time in our contact center, our member services, overseeing our deposit product operations, and then the really cool side hustle of digital banking, which brings credit union products and services to life to members on their phones and their computers, and being a part of some really cool things. Like, I can remember when we rolled out mobile deposit, and I know this ages me, but it says, I was banking with a credit union before mobile deposit, and now I can't imagine a world without that convenience for the times that my mom writes me a check once in a while. There are still a few check writers out there, and whenever mom or grandma writes that check, mobile deposit is what I use. So it's been incredible to see technology and how technology has truly enhanced the member banking experience.
Sure. So that was technically not your side hustle. That's a very big thing that you're a part of, right? So yeah, I mean, she's too humble.
You're absolutely right. But I can say, when I jumped into back office, I didn't necessarily recognize it as I do today. And now being able to connect our marketing folks with our digital banking folks, because they work together each and every day to bring that personalized digital experience to our members. And our members deserve to have that personal experience and to be delighted when they interact with us through a laptop, a computer, or their mobile device. And so part of my journey in credit unions was, about 6 years ago now, I joined the marketing team, and that was absolutely eye-opening, and learned so much, like drinking through a fire hose of information and creativity and passion and ways to think about connecting with not only members on existing products and services, but looking into the community and how the credit union is also a member of the community that we operate in.
Sure, absolutely. So that leads to the next question, Jen, right? You've not changed, your role got elevated some time back, combining COO and CXO. Now you run experience, marketing, operations, bunch of things, right? So what does this new role mean for you, and what are the few things that you're doing?
The role means so much to me. And when I think about experience, I think experience is a few different ways for me. One, it's our employee experience. How do our employees experience the credit union? I wholeheartedly believe that taking care of my people is my number one role, and
Yep.
making sure that people are armed with the information, the education, and the support to execute their roles with excellence. When my team members have what they need to deliver their job, they can then delight the members. That cascades into the best member experience that we can deliver. Beyond that, I think about the experience for the credit union and the community. And how does the broader community experience the organization? How does the organization become part of the community? How does the community demand that the credit union participates? And that evolves. One of the greatest needs that we're seeing in the community today is financial literacy. We see so many young people coming out of high school or college, and some of the biggest hurdles they face is understanding financial literacy, whether it's saving for a first home, understanding credit, how to start credit, how to maintain credit, or in some cases, how to repair credit. And so we've just made such a huge commitment to supporting communities and young people with financial literacy. That's not only a commitment of member experience, but it's a commitment of the organization, because we have to rally troops from around the credit union to deliver financial literacy, engaging with our lending people to talk about credit and to talk about what loans make the most sense for young people, and the benefits and negatives of credit cards. So it has really been a passion project to harness the power of our credit union to serve our community with financial literacy. And fringe benefit of that has been now the community sees the credit union as an ally, as a safe harbor, as a place where they can come to receive information that can be considered scary. I've heard it that some people don't want to talk about financial literacy. They would rather get a root canal. It is that intense. It's also been aligned with the terror that can come with public speaking. And I think credit unions have such an ability to connect with their members and the community because they show up with heart, and they are a trusted ally and partner in the community for members or potential members to get the best financial advice we can deliver.
I mean, that's when people trust a financial institution. If you're true to them, you're helping them getting more aware about their financial condition. That's the basic difference of large banks and credit unions. On this side of the world, we really care for our members. One of the lines that I loved that Jen talked about, one of the phrases that you're always considered to be a member, not a number, right? So that was potentially one of the best phrases I've heard in the last week for sure. Right? So that's who we are, and I'm glad that you're leading the charter of marketing as well as experience, as well as because experience is essentially the cornerstone of any credit union. Unless you elevate experiences, unless you have an amazing experience, you're still uh, doing the same. Doing the same thing that every single credit union does, right? So that's now moving on to the culture, right? So you hinted on the culture of credit union. TruWest has been the Motorola credit union for the West Coast, right? Motorola's West. After that, you pivoted being a community based. Now, for that, obviously, your charter changed from a seg to a community, but still, how do you ensure that the culture and you still make the members feel like that same old family?
It comes down to investing in our employees and making sure our employees are connected to our culture, because it's the employees that bring the organization to life for the member, whether the member is interacting with a chat or over the telephone with one of the contact center agents or in person in one of the financial service centers. That connective moment is the opportunity for the employee to make a deposit of culture with the member. And our employees are our number one asset. They are the reason that our members receive the best service. And I know credit unions, if you talk to 10 credit unions, they're going to tell you service is what differentiates us. And I wholeheartedly believe that service is what differentiates credit unions in the marketplace. And service can be different for different credit unions. It doesn't make it necessarily better, but everyone has their own flavor on service that meets the needs and exceeds the expectations of those members. When I have the privilege to be in any of our financial service centers, what stands out to me, and I was just in our Austin locations a couple of weeks ago, and I like to kind of hang out and linger, and I don't always have a schedule. I just kind of hang out and I chit chat with members or employees. And one of the things that stood out on my last visit was over many hours, I was in one of our locations, and as a member walks in, they are greeted more often than not by first name by multiple employees. How do you pull that off? How does that happen
difficult.
with consistency over hours? It's not one member, it was multiple members. And as I was traveling back and I had time to really kind of process the thought and think about, like, how does that happen with consistency and excellence? The average tenure of an employee at TruWest Credit Union is over 10 years. So our employees really get to know our members. So when the member calls, or in this example, visits a financial service center, that employee knows them. They know what kind of they know their job, they know their family, they know a life event. And that creates a member experience that cannot be duplicated.
No,
so I know I keep going back to it, but the employees are the secret sauce. The employees bring us to life. They deliver the credit union experience, regardless of the interaction, whether it's digital or in person. The employees are driving it, and taking care of our employees is our number one priority.
I think you have the exact answer when you told me that people really recognize your employees recognizing members by first name. Do you know how difficult of a hurdle is that? It's almost impossible. I mean, you go to an average, a top 10 bank, it'll never happen for the next 20 years. Because that's not the way how they operate. And that's the credit union difference, right? That we really are proud of our communities, right? Of really proud of what we are doing right now. I mean, kudos to your team, who's doing this every day. Extremely proud. Next time I'm in Austin, I would love to visit one of your financial wellness centers, for the lack of better words, and meet them. This is amazing.
We would love to have you. I'd love to see the team welcome those members by first name. It's absolutely one of those moments that doesn't run away from you. It sticks with you.
Yeah, that's the difference. I mean, at times I feel very proud that I've made the transition of working with credit unions and community banks, because this is where we are not just considering anyone as numbers, but we really care about a member as a person, a consumer as a person, not just again another P&L entry in a balance sheet, for sure. That's more important. So that's on one side. My next question is very different, because I also, being almost a Gen Z, I mean, I'm a zillennial is what I call, starting end of millennial, and not Gen Z, but starting end of millennial. So I still strongly feel that having a digital experience is very important, at least for me, because otherwise, for me, a financial institution is something that helps me move my money from point A to B. That's the most important thing. I mean, it's very weird, but I don't care about APR. I care about convenience. I care about if I can have my money moved without any friction. That means I need a very good digital experience. I mean, I am not ready to go to a buggy app or to a buggy website and wait for 3 minutes to go and apply for a loan. If that happens, you lose me as a customer, because my experience, I'm always comparing with a Chime or a Chase, because I'm a customer of both. Not for a Chase, I'm a customer of Chime. I love them. My question is, obviously, members as a whole, there's a group of members who always want easy digital banking, right? But also a combination of personal trust, because I'm a person, I would want a branch. I would want to see a branch nearby. I mean, because that's what I am. I mean, I'm not just comfortable with only Chime by looking at that, but by using the application, but also I would want a branch nearby so that I feel more comfortable, something in my community. So how do you give a typical member both of them? Good member experience in terms of digital, as well as also encompassing a branch so that it feels connected to the community.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more with you. And I'm probably guilty of the same. I do like seeing a branch. Yeah. And if I didn't go visit to see them because they're my team, I don't know that as a consumer, I would go into a branch for my general banking needs. I prefer digital channel because it's with me wherever I go. And the credit union, for me, lives on my mobile phone and it lives on my device that is with me 24/7, and I can access it
Sure.
however I need, whenever I need.
Sure.
So for me and for TruWest, keeping our finger on the pulse of what our members need. We have a group of members. We have over 90,000 members at TruWest. And
Mhm.
since our roots are Motorola Employees Credit Union, our members demand technology and they
Mhm.
demand emerging technology from the credit union because that's how
Yeah.
they lived and that's how they worked and that's what they
Yeah.
expect.
Yeah.
So always understanding the needs of our members, and we can do that in multiple ways, whether we're doing it through surveys or collecting and trending feedback out of our contact center or our digital banking teams to collect what are they asking for, and then keeping our finger on the pulse of what's going on in the
Yeah.
marketplace with fintechs and new technologies coming out, and identifying those bridges between the members' need as well as technology. How does that benefit the credit union to move the needle forward, not only to grow as an organization, but to meet those
Mhm.
ever-changing needs of the members, because they are always changing, and new fintechs that are coming out and new technologies, competitors like Chime, they push us to be excellent and they push
Sure.
us to always challenge the status quo and to evolve and to experiment when it comes to new technology. It doesn't mean that everything has to work on day one, but like I like to say with my teams, it's okay to have a pilot that doesn't work out. Not okay is that we don't learn from it and we don't get better for the next iteration or the next pilot or the next experiment. Credit unions, we have to be curious by nature as organizations, and we have to have leaders and have employees that are also curious and that are always balancing the needs of our members against the emerging technologies to create the best experience and to show that the credit union is always moving and adopting the best technology, but also balancing that with security and ensuring that whatever product is rolled out is done so in the most secure fashion.
Let's go to the next question. So, Jen, my next question is I keep talking about this or throwing this number every single time that JP Morgan and Chase has $15 billion as a yearly spend for technology. That's not even a set size of our largest credit unions, right? It's very different. So my question is across, yes, like Chase and the others, right, have huge tech budgets. They move really fast. Plus, the fintechs move really fast. The large banks and the fintechs move really fast. Where does a credit union, do you think, genuinely win? And where do you think we need to work even harder?
Yeah, I think credit unions, they always have to, they work harder because we don't necessarily have the IT budget that a Chase is going to have. In some cases, the development team of Chase might be as big as my entire credit union. But what they don't have is the connective tissue to their member and their
Sure.
consumer like we have to our member. And credit
Sure.
unions can really connect with the member and identify technology that is in demand. If writing a check to get technology is the goal, well, Chase is always going to win because they could write a check for anything. But
Sure.
credit unions have the luxury of really knowing what do consumers need and how does a technology enhancement make banking better? How does it improve the banking experience? How does it make life easier for members? And identifying what that is. And the members of credit unions have varying needs. And I think credit unions, they are in place based on the needs of a community or a SEG or a charter that started it. And they're going to have those themes in who they are in the DNA of the organization. And so while a credit union may not have the same budget as Chase, they
Yeah.
have a closer connection to the consumer to speak
Than
directly
Chase.
and meet those immediate needs.
I think that's what our USP is, right? I mean, we are much closer to our members. I mean, I keep on sounding like a broken record because 95% of my friends, they don't know what credit unions are, right? And I'm among the 5% of my friends who know who credit unions are. But yeah, I mean, I get you. Now let's change the direction a bit. Let's talk about you. We talked a lot about work, right? Now talk about mentorship, because I feel that mentorship has been very important for me. I mean, I can name maybe 20 mentors right now on my call up. I mean, I believe they're separate mentors for separate things, right? Be it
Mm.
entrepreneurship, be it being better on your job, being better on with your family. There are different type of mentors I have, right? My question is, who do you think is your biggest mentor and what did they teach you?
Yeah, I agree. I think mentorship is like lightning in a bottle, and it can
Sure,
change the change who you are. And I
sure.
have absolutely had the privilege or luxury to have an incredible mentor that has forever changed who I am professionally and even personally. It is rare that you get access to an individual of such strength and influence that really has that doesn't show it. And this individual showed me so many skills, but one that stands out and that lives in my heart as a leader is being a champion for people.
Sure.
And that doesn't mean that I'm the first one to celebrate every single win. Being a champion for your people is being there when they fail or fall, and how you handle that so that they know you are still their champion. And when you do have to celebrate wins, it means so much more because you have been there wholly and authentically for the good
Yeah,
days and the bad days. And that champion will challenge you to push you into uncomfortable environments that your maybe regular self wouldn't. But
yeah.
that trusted champion knows you sometimes better than yourself
And yourself.
and knows where they can carefully influence so that you grow and that you become even a better version of yourself. This individual that mentored me did all of those things and continues to do those things for me. And I am incredibly grateful and thankful to have access to such a mentor. I am so committed to trying to be a fraction as good as that for anybody that I have the opportunity to be a mentor for. And I believe that as a leader and as an executive at the credit union, one of my number one responsibilities is to mentor up and coming leaders and to mentor the next generation. And frankly, to actively work myself out of a job because I've created the next generation of rockstar credit union leaders. I
Mhm.
think as executives, we face risks to our talent pool if we don't.
Mhm.
And
Got them.
we
Yeah,
risk losing the stories of tellers becoming CEOs and tellers becoming COOs or CMOs. Credit union executives, they must invest and they must mentor in their up and coming leaders.
yeah. So I'm glad to hear that you believe in mentorship is one of the most key things. Because without a mentor, I think it's you're on a wrecked ship. You're trying to sail through without a compass. For sure, that's what
Mm-hmm.
I believe. Last question, in the interest of time, Jen, I know you were to drop. Is I'm a huge fan of member stories. I'm a huge fan of exceptional member stories. And actually,
Yeah.
I want to write a book on member stories, on exceptional member stories. What's your favorite member story that still stays with you?
In my tenure at TruWest, I managed one of our financial service centers. And we had a member. His name was Mr. Cummings, and he would come into the credit union about every other day. He only needed banking services about once or twice a month, but he is a retired Marine vet, and he was always cruising around in his golf cart, and you could see him coming down the road in his golf cart with all the flags. And he would come in, and he had such a larger than life personality. And definitely when that member opened when he pulled into the
Mhm.
parking lot, there was like an internal announcement, here he comes,
Mhm.
and everyone would get excited to see him. And he brought goodies in. He was almost like one of our team members. He was there so often. He would hang out in the lobby and drink his coffee and just be part of us. And I'll never forget this man. I would see him at the grocery store because I also lived in that same area. And he was the same in the grocery store versus our financial service center. I will never forget him. He was such a joy to see. Even when he got salty, and as a retired Marine, if things didn't go his way, you heard about it. But he was still our member, and he was the most genuine human I've ever interacted with. And I miss those days where I could see him cruising up the road in his flagged golf cart, and he always had the same navy blue hat on, and he would roll into the credit union with the same good morning, and it always made your day.
These are member stories. I mean, these are stories you can't forget for the rest of your life. I think you'll take to the grave for sure. So Jennifer, thank you again for spending your time with us today. We really appreciate it, and this was an amazing half an hour worth of podcast. Thank you again.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me. I really enjoyed our conversation.
Absolute pleasure. Thank you.